1.
Thank you, Sue. We will start with opening statements, and Patricia Damisch will go first. She has 2 minutes.
Do I get a signal?
Go.
Okay. My thanks to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to speak. I love serving my community. I grew up in Glenview. We raised our children in Northbrook, and I married into a family that for 70 years has lived in Northfield, so I have deep roots in this area. I have an undergraduate degree in communications and an MBA in finance and marketing, both from Northwestern University. My role is that of taxpayer advocate and problem solver. People come to me for a wide variety of issues related to property taxes. They get personalized one-on-one consultation, and I love that interaction with the citizens. Under my leadership, the office has changed dramatically. When I first took the position, there was data in a computer, but there was no way to massage the data. We even used microfiche to get some information. We hired a software developer and did work together to create a computer in-house that does analysis of properties, pre-fills required county forms, gives us historical information, all in a matter of seconds. And some of these things used to take hours. It has resulted in immense efficiency improvement, both for myself and for my staff. And it also means property owners don't have to really deal with Cook County, which can be a very frustrating experience. I've also used technology to increase and improve the way I communicate with homeowners. I still do sometimes mail out a newsletter, but more often people refer to my webpage for information. We have an ever-growing e-blast list. I 4 times a year do an outreach program. I'm a featured speaker in local civic groups. So bottom line, I'm available in person, by phone, by text, by email, 7 days a week. I look forward to continuing providing technology-based solutions for my constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nally.
Thank you, Jan. Hi, good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this evening. Ready? I am Alida Nally. I am the slated Democratic candidate for Northfield Township Assessor. I live here in Glenview with my husband. I raised my family here in Glenview as part of the OLPH community. I am a member of the OLPH Women's Club and a very proud member of Guild 6. The job of Township Assessor is to be an advocate for our residents. And yet most township residents don't even realize there is a Township Assessor. I'm setting out to change that. I want to be your taxpayer advocate. I'm excited about running for office. It's my first time running for office. I am a valuation geek. I also have a degree in business finance. I ran a small business of 23 years, an appraisal management company. I'm excited about getting out into the community and making sure our residents know that we're here to help them. For the past 2 years, I've been a deputy assessor at the township. And one recurring theme that keeps coming up is residents that come in and tell me that their property taxes are skyrocketing and they're very fearful that they won't be able to stay in their homes. We need to do something about that. My heart breaks every time a senior citizen comes in and tells me they weren't even aware of exemptions and programs that would have allowed them to stay in their homes. There's programs from the assessor with exemption. The treasurer has programs. The towns have programs. Even the township has money to help people stay in their homes. I want to work with Assessor Fritz Kagi hand in hand to make sure we get valuations right from the first go at it. And if not, help people appeal their property taxes. That's what we're there for. I want to get out into the community and advocate for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question will go to Ms. Damisch. Some have suggested that particularly in urban and suburban areas, there is little need for township government and that municipal and/or county government could absorb many of the township's functions as a way to save taxpayer money. What do you see as the value of Northfield Township government for its residents? In other words, why should it exist? You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, certainly in this time of COVID and the pandemic, we have seen the value of township. Our township pantry has almost doubled the number of families they serve. I believe now the number is up to 960 families. They have local access to food thanks to Northfield Township. I've had many citizens in terms of assessor assistants who say that they are so frustrated and so confused with the whole labyrinth that is Cook County and that government. And they so much appreciate, again, having local people who live in the community, who understand what their neighborhood is like and what the situation is, to help them to figure out, do they have a reason to appeal? Can you help me craft an appeal? There's nothing like having local people that live in the community that understand their situation. So I don't think that this can be taken in by a broader sense. I think really the township in Northfield Township, between the food pantry, assessor help, our social worker, we are really serving a need not served anywhere else. And I feel we're valuable to this constituents.
Thank you. Ms. Nally, same question.
Thank you. I think efficiency in government is a #1 priority. And I'm very excited about helping all of our residents. We have about 86,000 residents in Northfield Township. About 17 or 18,000 of them are unincorporated. And they do provide valuable service. One of the things I think about is that township government is a very small, nimble layer of government. It provides just 3 main functions. It has a road district, we are a social safety net, and we have assessor help. And all of those functions, the road district has its own levy, so they're kind of their own entity. But the township with the assessor service and also with the food pantry and the social services safety net, all that service is provided with economies of scale to Northbrook, Glenview, and Northfield for about $50 on the typical tax bill. I'm not sure that the towns could each individually provide a social safety net and a food pantry and assessor help for $50 a year. It's a pretty good bargain. If they could do it for less money and more efficiently, that's great. But I think $50 is a pretty good bargain for everything that we're doing in the township.
Thank you. You will be first with the next question because we're taking turns.
Sure.
So how has the pandemic affected the role of township assessor and the ability to provide the services offered under normal circumstances? What steps need to be taken to right the ship?
Well, it's been a very difficult year for all of us. And I believe communication is the key during this pandemic. Unfortunately, most of our citizens like to come into the office and see us and help. It's usually people that don't have access to technology. English is a second language. They need our help. And what happened during the pandemic is they weren't even aware that we were closed. There was no communication that came out from our office to let people know that we were closed to the public. They had to show up at our door and ask to make a phone call. Communication is key to right the ship here and all this. We need to get the township open. We need to communicate with our residents and let them know we are here to help them actively, not just showing up and knocking on a door and a door not opening. It's very heartbreaking to watch senior citizens and having to stand out in the cold while we get an answer for them. We need to communicate very actively and provide answers to our residents.
Thank you. Ms. Damisch, you can unmute now.
Right. Yes, the pandemic has definitely been a challenge, and it's forced us to be much more creative about how we serve our people. Unfortunately, the rule was made that for their safety as well as our staff, we could not allow people to come in. And people understood that because that was true in many places. That's why schools were closed. That's why offices were closed. So it was not a surprise to anybody. Instead, we would meet them sometimes outside in the cold and explain this. We worked by mail. We worked by scanning things. We worked via the phone, US mail, whatever they were comfortable with is what we did to make things work for them. I will say the county too helped us making our job easier. For example, the homeowners association, the senior exemption, the freeze, the disabled exemption, some of these exemptions that normally would require people to come in, they don't have to do that this year. So that has streamlined things and eased the burden because it's true, we've spoiled them. We've given them so much one-on-one attention and we just can't do that right now safely. I'm hoping very soon though, by this summer that we'll reopen again and we'll be able to give that personalized service that they've come to expect and we love to give.
Thank you. And Ms. Damisch, first with the next question. Has the pandemic revealed a permanent need for new services or the ability to do away with others? You were mute. You're unmute, please. And timer, you can stop. You're muted. You're unmuted. So go ahead.
Okay, there we go. I'm not sure if you mean in conjunction with assessor responsibilities.
Right. For the assessor. Or
I
if you do away with any service.
again.
Or if you can do away with any services because of the pandemic has shown you didn't need services.
Gosh, I really don't feel in terms of our assessor roles that we play, I think it showed how much people do need us, especially the seniors. For example, because so many of them still are not great with technology, and suddenly with a pandemic, a lot of their sources for technology were closed. A lot of seniors, for example, use the library for research, for scanning information, for emailing. Suddenly that was closed. So we had to, again, become flexible and help them do things that normally they do elsewhere because they had limited access to resources. So if anything, it caused us, again, to be more creative, to be open to helping them in any way we could. I mean, just today, I put on my winter coat 5 different times to meet somebody outside to help them because they're not allowed in, but we want to give them good service. So no, it's just caused us to be more open and to be more creative in finding solutions to serving them.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nally, same question.
Sure, thank you. I think the township could definitely do more to help in this situation, especially during the pandemic. This township is sitting on a sizable reserve in funds that could be used to promote additional programs to help our seniors and help our low-income individuals pay their property taxes, at least give grants to help pay relieve some of their property tax burden for them. We should have been, I know that Niles Township, for example, they created a COVID relief fund for their residents, especially during this time. If we're sitting on reserve funds, we need to be spending them. We should not be having residents coming in with tax bills that they can't afford to pay without providing some assistance if we have the money to do so. I think there's definitely many more programs, including access to the oh my gosh, my brain. Shot to be able to get your vaccine. We need to play a vital role. We have access to senior citizens day in and day out in the assessor's office. We could provide that information to our seniors, a direct connection to help them get there.
Thank you. And Ms. Nally, you will be first with the next question. How are both workload and in-office responsibilities divided between the assessor and the deputy assessor? Do you foresee any changes, such as new initiatives or changes in responsibilities that would make the assessor's job a full-time responsibility?
Sure. I found that in my role as deputy assessor, and I am there, I am a full-time employee, and Patty is part-time. She comes in 1 day a week to help our residents. I really found that having an education in the background, I earned my designation this year as a certified Illinois assessing officer, has been invaluable in helping our residents and understanding the different levels of government and how to make those interact for our residents. I definitely see that the role of the township assessor needs to be more active. It needs to be available to our residents, and a deputy assessor can help with all those functions. The needs are growing in our township, and our township is growing. So I think education is key for anybody that's going to be doing this role, especially a deputy assessor. They need to know everything possible to be able to.
Thank you. Ms. Damisch, next question. Same question.
Sure. The workflow in the assessor office really is dependent on the calendar that the Cook County assessor sets. For example, during reassessment time, I'll be working 40, 50 hours a week. They're Tuesday through Saturday, working nights, doing paperwork, giving seminars in the evening. it's a high demand time. Other times when we're not open for appeals or exemptions and there's no tax bills, the need is not as great, but it is a part-time job. And that's true for all the townships in Cook County. All the assessors are part-time assessors. The wonderful thing about the way we're set up in Northfield Township at the office is it's very cooperative. When we're open for reassessment, other people in the office answer phones for us, log in our work. They've got our backs. And likewise, there are days that my deputy does much more for the pantry than for assessor because that's where the need is. So we really save a lot of taxpayer dollars by being very collaborative together, and it works beautifully.
Thank you. And Ms. Damisch, you will be first with the next question. How about workload? Oh, I'm sorry, that was the question we just. What do you see as the top 3 priorities for the township in the coming term? And what challenges affect the township's ability to execute them?
Well, again, I've got the skewed view is that I'm the township assessor. For me, the major problem is property taxes and the cost of living in our area. You know, because we have such wonderful services, such wonderful schools, the housing costs have gone through the roof and more people find it challenging to live there. And so we have to do something, and it's really not, unfortunately, as the assessor, I don't have the power to do much in terms of changing things like making people have affordable housing. That's really primarily a village board function. But where we can provide relief for people and provide them the tools to stay in their home, such as making sure that seniors get their exemptions and get the senior freeze when they qualify, this is an area of great concern for me. Other things is food insecurity. COVID has taught me that we have a big problem in Northfield Township, much to everybody's shock. When you have 960 people, families on food stamps and on using the pantry, that's a real issue, and that has to be addressed. And finally, I would say the other thing is education, which again is outside of my area of concern, but there's been a number of issues going on in our schools in terms of how to educate given the new atmosphere we have with COVID and with the pandemic. And we have to find a way to engage kids and keep them educated.
Thank you. Ms. Nally, question, the 3 priorities that you see for the township.
Right. I see 3 really big top priorities for the township, and including for the assessor. It goes for all of us here at the township. Because as Patty said, we do work collaboratively together. We're a small office. We're only 8 people in the office. We're small, we're nimble, we get the job done. The number one thing is to communicate. Yes, the food pantry is serving 900 residents, but we have over 4,000 residents in Northfield Township at the poverty level or below. Okay. So we're not reaching everybody. We have about 17,000 households that make $50,000 or less. They're kind of just skating by too. We need to be more proactive in communicating to residents that the township is here to help, not only with the food pantry, we have emergency assistance, we have general assistance to provide help to people. Last week, I had a man come, a man probably in his early 70s, in his truck. He's living in his truck in Glenview, and he came to use the food pantry. And we paid for him to stay at a motel for 1 week. And now he's back in his truck. Can't we do more with that? The other main thing is we need to spend the reserves. We need to give more money to residents to help them to afford to be able to stay in the community, support somebody not living in a truck. We don't want him to stay in his truck. And the last thing we need to do is work with other governmental agencies. We need to work with Cook County. We need to work with everybody collectively, all the organizations in the government together to solve these problems that are facing us.
Thank you. And Ms. Damisch, we're hearing background noises from you, so could you please mute when you're not speaking? There's something happening.
It's totally quiet here. I don't know why that would be. Sure.
I don't know what it is. It's just really weird. Ms. Nally, you will be first with the next question. And I'm hoping that we'll have time for one more after this, but we'll see.
Okay.
Why are you running for this office, and why do you think you'd be better for this job than your opponent?
I'm running for this office because I'm passionate about helping residents, as is Patty. Patty's a very passionate person as well about helping residents. I feel like I'll bring a fresh vision to the office. I feel like I can get out What I want to do is get out into the community. Right now, it's all people have to come to us and they're not aware that these services are there. I would like to get out into Primavera, out into Deer Love, out into Mission Hills and go to the residents, go to the senior centers so that people know all the programs that are available to help them. I believe that we've just been kind of complacent in letting people come to us. And it's heartbreaking when I have a senior citizen come to me and tell me they never even knew about exemptions. When I have a disabled person who never even knew there was an exemption available, we have to be more proactive. We have to get out of the office. And that's the number one thing I'd like to do. I'd also like you to know this will be my only job. I will not have another job. This will be my only job, is to be the assessor and represent the people in Northfield Township.
Thank you. And Ms. Damisch, you can unmute now and answer the same question. Why are you running for this office?
I'm running for this office because I love this office. I've been doing it for a long time. I've watched it grow. I've watched it develop. And I feel I make a difference in people's lives. As I said in my opening arguments, I have deep roots in this town. I know almost every street personally. I know the people, and I love the impact that I make on people's lives. I'm passionate about it. I find it interesting. It's amazing. Even after all these years, we say it all the time in the office. We always are seeing something new, hearing something new. It is a little frustrating that when people say they don't know about exemptions. I mean, Cook County tries to do a great job sending things in the mail. We put things in the newspaper. I sent out a newsletter. We sent out e-blasts, but I have those forums at the library and at the park district. And yet somehow we can't reach everybody all the time. But I think we do a great job of reaching most people most of the time. And I've had such great feedback from people. They appreciate our efforts, and I look forward to continuing doing that.
Thank you. And you have time for one more question. So candidates, and you'll go first, Ms. Damisch.
Sure.
Candidates run for township office as affiliates of political parties. Do you see this position as political in nature? And how are the values and policies of the two parties, Republican and Democratic parties, relevant to township office?
Yeah, I'm actually frustrated by that. It's not true in every township. For example, our neighbors next door, New Trier, they don't run Republican, Democrat. To me, it's not a red state, blue state issue. It's having a passion for serving people and for giving them the high quality that, frankly, especially on the North Shore, people expect. And I hate that labeling. You know, I hope that when people go to vote, they vote for the person, not the party. So I really wish that it wasn't done by party. I wish it was just done by the voters just looking at the candidates, looking through forums like your own, which we really appreciate having, and realizing the strengths and weaknesses of each candidate and voting accordingly. Because, you know, so much of Republican or Democrat label is on national issues that don't apply here at all. So I urge people to just vote the person, not the party.
Thank you. Ms. Nally, one question.
Yeah, sure. I agree. Probably at the township level, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it's interesting that for the last 27 years, we've had a Republican assessor. For the last 20 years, we've had a Republican supervisor. So what does that tell you? It does play into effect, doesn't it? Because the control of the entire township has remained Republican. And that's concerning to me, especially when I know that we're sitting on a very large reserve of money that could be given out there. We need to shake things up. We need to have fresh eyes. We need to have fresh blood in. Everybody deserves to have a chance to run, and the voters deserve to have a chance for choice in who they vote for. We can't just go ahead and say, well, we're not going to run a candidate this time, or not run a candidate that time. I think voters deserve a choice. I think right now, for lack of anything better, we have Republicans and Democrats, and we all work together pretty well.
Thank you. And we are just in time for closing statement. So you have 90 seconds, and Ms. Nally, you will go first.
Thank you so much to the League for hosting tonight. And thank you to anybody that tunes in and decides to listen to this broadcast. I think it's really great. It's been a big year for all of us. Everybody knows we all need to come together right now and work together. And I believe doing that, we need to have an efficient, proactive government. I believe voters should have a choice. The current township assessor has been in for 27 years, never had an opponent. This is the first time in 27 years we have an opponent for township assessor. I think that's a great thing. I believe that the role of township assessor deserves the full attention. This will be my only job. I'm running as part of a very dynamic, great slate of Democratic candidates. We've endorsed, we want to work proactively with all the levels of government. I'm very proud to let you know that the Democratic Township slate has been endorsed by Senator Dick Durbin, by Jan Schakowsky, by Representative Brad Schneider, by State Senator Laura Fine. We've also been endorsed by Assessor Fritz Kagi, and we've been endorsed by Cook County Commissioner Scott Britton. We're looking forward to, as a team, rolling up our sleeves and getting to work, and I'm really looking forward to the next taxpayer advocate for our residents.
Thank you. Ms. Damisch.
Sure. Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having this forum. It's my pleasure to participate. My greatest joy in being Northfield Township Assessor is that I feel I can really see that I make a difference in people's lives. Let me give you some quick examples. I was part of a group of township assessors that effectively lobbied our state legislature in Springfield to increase the maximum allowable income for seniors to have and still qualify for the senior freeze. We were so gratified when that passed, and it meant relief for thousands of seniors. It's rewarding for me to meet with first-time owners of homes or immigrants and teach them about the real estate assessment process and the taxation process so they can be educated and independent and be proactive in managing their tax burden. I have many times helped seniors get the freeze for the first time and sometimes even get refunds going back 4 years for times that they should have had the senior freeze. And I've been told more than once that my actions help them stay in the home that they love. And that's a deeply meaningful situation when that happens to me. So all in all, it's been my pleasure, my honor to serve this community, and I look forward to be continuing as a faithful public servant. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the forum. Thank you to our candidates and to the League of Women Voters of Glenview-Glencoe. And happy to everybody.
I'd like to just remind our voters to consult the nonpartisan IllinoisVoterGuide.org for all information that you need at your fingertips regarding the elections and candidate information. Also, please make sure you vote, especially in local elections. Your vote is your voice. Thank you.